Hello and welcome to Who Dares Rolls TV. I am your host Mike B, and here we are today with a list. A list of 10 games split asunder into 5 that I really wish I could play more of, and 5 that can fucking do one. Okay? Games that are just fuck off games. Can't be doing with it. So, we'll do that. So, let's start off with one of the games that I love to play more of, I wish I could play more of, and it's going to be Cosmic Encounter. It's a game I love, I adore, I love the random nature of it. The idea of Cosmic Encounter is you are alien species fighting over planets, and you have all asynchronous races, you have randomly drawn powers a lot of the time, there's cards, you challenge each other to take over planets, and you essentially, it's kind of like a bluff and betting game. You start with 5 planets in front of you, each of them with these little flying saucer minis on them, which are kind of cool, and you pop forward how many you're going to challenge, where you're going to attack, and what you are. Now, it's kind of randomized because there's cards turned every round that point towards who's fighting against who. It's blue player against green player, fine. And it's that point in time you say, well, I'm going to attack that planet, and I'm going to send this many ships in. Likewise, the defender will do similar, and then they can look for allegiances either side of the other players around and see if anyone will side with one side or the other. And then only those core players will play cards, usually one card, and it will usually add a number to that attack. So you put 5 ships down, but you've got a card for another 10 of them, and these kind of cards are wildly kind of space between low numbers to big, but there's other cards in there. There's other cards that can good for duels or truces, or there's other little tricks to it. But the key to that's the basic part of the game, is essentially you bidding ships against their attack, adding a modifier to it, maybe getting assistance from someone else, and then taking that planet or not. That's kind of the basic of it, but then the meat and the mystery of it is that each of the alien species has rules on those cards that invariably nearly always bend or outright break rules of the game. And chaos ensues. There is random, it's chaos, it's chaotic. I've had some fucking amazing games of this, of just one species, I think it was metamorphosizing into other aliens, which was doing other things. If it works, if it gels together, everyone's on board for it. It is a astoundingly cracking evening's entertainment. About 4 or 5 players, it's sweet, it's lovely, it's stupid, it's random, it's crazy, it's chaos incarnate. It's like chaos magic as a board game. My biggest challenge is, on the Friday night games, is Ben often is there, and Ben hates Cosmic Encounter, and he just will poo-poo me ever playing it whenever I can. So getting it to the table and playing it often and regularly is a pain. But if I can get to play it, if I do get to play it, I adore it and love it every single time. So that is one I love and one I wish I could play more. What's a game that I would care not to play very often, if at all? So I'm going to pick, and I'm picking this title. It's kind of enveloping a lot more games, but for the minute, it's Brussels 1893. I played it probably at the early dawn of my of really getting into gaming, really modern gaming. I just started going to Southampton on Board, which was a local board game cafe. I'd been insular doing my own stuff between my mates, the boys, the guys, and we'd been playing games. But I'd started eking out to this board game cafe and met much more people there, and obviously was getting kind of just embroiled in all the extra stuff out there, starting to get those early tender, there's little feelers out into, oh, there's this, oh, there's that, and just finding lots of stuff. And it was great those early days, and I haven't been for a while, clearly, but it's always quite nice to get to a board game cafe or convention, because you get to play stuff. I always used to be interested in what is everyone else playing. I never used to take stuff. Those early days, A, I didn't have much, B, I want to see what everyone else is playing, and I want to try something I've not played before. Anyway, Brussels 1893 is kind of the epitome for me of that spreadsheet game, that dull-looking just, Euro. It is a game, I believe, to do with, I've only ever played it the once, and I played it, and I understood what I was doing. It was taught, it's a complex game, let's be clear, it's a complex Euro game. All about, I think, art and stuff. I can't remember the whole extent of it. That's how, but it's just beige. The whole thing just, you just kind of die a little inside when you look at it. And it kind of epitomizes to me that style of just very dry, kind of theme-ish, nebbish, just, and it's an experience that I just played it through and I was like, okay, I get I'm doing mechanisms, I'm moving stuff around, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. But there's just no life for me in that. It's just dull. So Brussels is the game that brings to mind of one of my earliest stumblings across this style of game. It's kind of epitomizes to me in my mind that style of game, that kind of very dry, boring, just mechanics-led point collecting Euro.
The advantage of QuickBooks Pro is that it's easy to assemble a list of vendors.
Well, this is great. I'm heading home so as not to have to be here anymore.
So Brussels 893, although it infers to that style of stuff, just bit dull, bit Magnolia, bit shit. And so next on the list of games I really wish I could play more of will be Imperial Sword. I love Imperial Sword. It's FFG's reskin, essentially, of Descent 2nd Edition, tweaked, refined, probably the best version of that game. It's added more by more space wizards and lightsabers and Star Warsy whizzy bangy stuff, and it does. It's one of the games that actually does capture Star Wars. It's one versus many. You can play it with an app now. I've not played it with the app. One day I might. But essentially, it works the base game as someone's the GM, the dark side, the Empire, who's kind of pulling the strings of this fight, of this dungeon crawl of the heroes doing it. Lots of the characters from the movies pop up. A can do in there. It's quite a nice little touch that other universe is going on, whereas this is kind of doing its own thing. But what does it say? What it captures me, it does capture that Star Wars vibe of these stormtroopers that can't hit a brick wall, and these heroes going on daring missions. There's nice campaigns in there, and with the expansions and stuff. And I delve deeply. I did go down the rabbit hole of this. I own all of the expansions for Imperial Sword, all the boxed expansions, and a great many, especially of all the enemy expansion characters, plucky minis, because there's cardboard chits in the thing, and they're nice, but I've picked up pretty much a lot of it. I've gone down that rabbit hole, the FFG rabbit hole. That's the one I doubled down on and went down because I love what it was doing. Love it. We're going to get back into it on Sunday games with the Sunday crowd because they like a dungeon crawl. I love Imperial Sword, so I want to go through all of that at some point, and just really, we're just going to have some big old campaigny, Star Warsy fun and games, dice chucking, all good shit. If you're a fan of Star Wars, it's one of the great Star Wars board game experiences. It comes with a skirmish mode I've never touched in there, which also works quite well. FFG have kind of subsequently kind of shut the door on it. They said, that's it, it's done. It was finished. We went on and did Legion. It's a shame because there was definitely more meat to it. Whether we get a second edition, I don't know. One wonders, maybe that might crop up at some point. But yeah, Imperial Sword is a really great Star Wars game. Rebellion is also a really good one, but Imperial is one I really wish I could play more of, and I'm hoping I will. Next to me is going to be The Mind. This is games that I could just get the fuck out of Dodge. So The Mind, I initially liked the concept of The Mind, and the idea of The Mind is you're essentially playing cards. You're trying to play cards, I think it's either less or more than the player before played. So you're never trying to bust out, and you've all got random cards. You can't communicate. There can be no communication at all. It's just got to be done as you find down a card. Now, I originally approached the game as like you're using your Jedi powers to play it. There's nothing else. You were just there on a hunch, on a whim, of a prayer. What cards have been played? I'll play that. And that sense of satisfaction. And that was a lot of fun. Didn't win it very often, but was quite fun. That just kind of, I'm going to go for it. However, the game was subsequently marred, destroyed by me, made shit by Ben going, well, no, this is not how you play The Mind. What you do is you count. I'm like, what? You count. And I've got a video, he says, he shows you. Oh, good. Here's a video of some people counting while putting cards down. And I'm like, right. So you want me to sit here and count in my head and put cards down? Yes. Okay. No. It is one of the first games I was there where at Games Night where Ben, after we played it the once and after the counting thing and after that I was like, I'm never fucking playing this game again. It can get the fuck out, it can fuck off, it can fuck off some more, and when you reach the front door, fuck off over the hill and fuck off some more. That's where I feel on that. Goodbye the mind. Next is games I really wish I could play more of. Of course it is Robinson Crusoe. I love Robinson Crusoe. It's a great thematic portal game. It's you stranded on a desert island trying to escape, depending on what scenario, lots of scenarios. Huge amount of replayability in that base box, and just a challenging bastard of a game. Evil dice. Just a game that just punishes you mercilessly the entire time you play it. You can play solo, you can play cooperative. And I love it, and I love what it's doing. I love all the mechanisms of it. I love how the card decks interact, how you can have stuff happen, the cards go back into the deck and pop back up and bite you in the arse later on. That whole thing, it's perfect. It's lovely. It's a great game. It's one I just don't play too often. Mostly the reason is it is a nightmare to teach. Nightmare to teach, because especially I've got an older version. The rulebook is very janky. I might have to track down a proper PDF for the later edition rulebook. I've got some help sheets. Once you know it, once you're playing that game, it's one of those you kind of want to play subsequently over a couple of evenings, because you just get that learning process out of your head, and then you're like, oh, I get this. It's actually quite easy. It's just a lot of moving bits. Is a cracking solo or co-op experience of you surviving on the island. I love it whenever I play it, once I've learned it again. But it's a great game. Really great, thematic-y, good game. Love it. Robinson Crusoe. Next up is going to be Between Two Cities. Stonemaier Games. It's just another one of those, why am I doing this games? Essentially, you sit there with, you're building a city on your board in front of you. I think there's tiles related, and then the people to the left and right of you also you're building, and you're building on theirs. So you're kind of, it's tile laying to a point, and you're kind of, they're doing a bit of that. You essentially is, unless you sync up with the person, unless they're kind of sensible, you know, they could fuck what you're doing. You mess up what they're doing. You pot a few things down. It goes around the table twice, and the game ends. And you're left going, oh, that went shit. It's barely a fucking game. Again, it goes on a bit. Nothing really happens. You build some stuff, but you don't really have agency of building what you want. If the person next to you is throwing the shit, I don't get it. It just goes around the fucking table twice, and you're like, I'll put a tile down. Oh, you've done the same. Oh, and it's done. What a load of shit. So yeah, Between Two Cities, can't be doing with that. And there was subsequently anyway, who cares? Shit it. Next is games I wish I played more of. It's going to be Millennium Blades. Millennium Blades, oh my god, I love this game. It is, it's from Level 99 Games. It's a big box of stuff. I think I've got it there somewhere. There it is, over there. That's basically, there's a bunch of expansions for it. I don't own any of the expansions because there was so much content in that base game. Essentially, it is a simulation of the collectible card game market. It simulates the collections, it simulates the tournament play, and it's all contained in this box, and it's crazy. It's this weird, magical, weird alchemy of fucking crazy shit happening. So yeah, you essentially have a round of you collecting cards, buying packs of cards, opening them up essentially. You don't open them, but you flip them over, and building sets, and you can randomize these big fat fucking decks of cards every time. There's different sort of characters you can play as with special abilities. There's you get deck protected boxes and stuff, so there's kit you can add on to your tournament deck, and you're building a tournament deck with it's kind of all works in tandem in the order you play out, which you'll play a tournament at the end of this buying stage. It's timed, you get big wads of cash you're buying down. It makes your head fucking hurt because you're just doing so many real-time variables of building this deck. It's deck building, and it's your like real timing, and I need to buy more cards, and I need to sell some stuff in the aftermarket, and there's a meta. What's the fucking meta? Oh, and you're doing all that, and then you play the tournament, and then when it works, when you play those fucking cards out and it fucking works, you're like, oh, I need to refine that more. There's just so much good shit going on in this game. It's kind of, I love deck builders anyway. I love that sort of stuff. I love the crazy, just the madness of we're going to simulate this entire genre. And it fucking works. And it's insane. It makes your head hurt, but it's a lovely, rich, burn of, oh God, that nearly had a seizure, but God, I really fucking enjoyed that. It's great. I really love Millennium Blades. I think it's one of the astoundingly great games out there on the market. Again, probably a bit of a... It's flayed under the radar. It's got love for certain, and there's a bunch of expansions which I could never see me buying because I just don't play A that enough, and B, there's so much in there already. It's huge value. If you can pick it up at a reasonable price, there's a huge amount of value in just that base box, and it is a cracker. It will make you hurt, but by God, it's fun. Oh, it's great. So much fun. So next on the games that I don't like so much, I'm going to pick 5 Tribes. 5 Tribes. Again, Southampton Board Game Club. I think Luke Hector from the Broken Meal. I think he had it. I think he bought it. It is a game that you're essentially, if I remember rightly, you're picking stuff off the board, and you can only pick certain stuff off the board. You're trying to score points by doing that. There's player pieces that look like big willies. That's about its only real good point on that, actually, is the cock meeples. And it's just a game that seems to be designed to just produce AP in people. It's a game that's saying, come here and sit for 25 fucking minutes while your person across you ponders what fucking meeple to pick up for 10 minutes of your life. And then you do that all again. Oh, God. It is just frustratingly just... I don't fucking get it. What a waste of fucking time. Sat there waiting for someone else to do something for fucking 20, 30, 40, 50 minutes of your time. And the only entertainment value, you can stare at your fucking wooden cock the entire duration of it. It can get out of fucking dodge. I don't see the point of it. If I want to play a fucking game, I want to be actually doing stuff for more than 5 seconds in 20-minute intervals. Rubbish, crap, shit, bollocks. Not for me. Never offer that to a fucking board game thing. I'm never playing it. Load of shit. The 5 Tribes from Days of Wonder. Do one. And then finally, the one more game that I really wish I was playing more of, it's going to be Battlestar Galactica. I appreciate and apologise in advance that I'm bringing this up. It's a game that's now out of print, so I get that. There is variations of stuff like this, but Battlestar Galactica, it's a wonderful merging of theme and mechanisms. It's essentially a hidden traitor game with just oodles of bells and whistles, especially with all 4 of the expansions, or definitely the chosen good bits of those expansions all kind of wedded together into this big, epic 2 or 3 hour thing you're going to play of you just either fucking your friends over or you getting fucked over. But I've had so many stand up at the table moments on this game, like to the wire of stuff happening and swings of traitors and people doing stuff and you don't see it coming, and just it tells wonderful, wonderful thematic, fun stories that at the end of it, there's a story to tell. And it's been epic, and it's great, and it's fun. It doesn't hurt that the theme is quite solid. I've never watched all of the Battlestar Galactica series, which is something I will correct, but I have watched the first few, and kind of, in my opinion, really good. And it kind of is all based on that first season, that sort of breakneck pace of the humans desperately trying to outwit the Cylons, outrun them, and then this constant chase, this constant desperate chase, trying to retain supplies and keep going and keep moving, and just this non-stop, just roller coaster of just pressure and shit going on, and brilliant. Watch the first season because it's really good, and I would definitely suggest this. But if you ever get a chance to sit and play Battlestar, especially with all the oodles and boodles on top, it's a cracking experience if you love the hidden traitor games, and if you like the theme, you'll love it. Love it. I really wish I could play it more, and I definitely one coming out of lockdown will be one that I want to be getting to the table at some point. And finally, where I did a negative note for some reason, probably did this the arse about face, is the number 1 game that couldn't just fuck off, and that's going to be Takaido. Now, Takaido, it's a game of you set in rural Japan, I believe, and essentially you're a tourist. You're this wandering samurai or something, and you're wandering from hot spas to cafes to gift shops, buying this sort of stuff. The idea is you move up this board, this kind of very beautiful, it's very kind of aesthetically quite stylized version of this thing. It looks kind of funky and cool. But you move along this board essentially 70 paces, and you can stop and you do something, and then you reach this point and you have to have a meal, and then you do that about 3 or 4 times. You will have a character yourself, will give you kind of some nod into the direction of maybe what you want to go down. Essentially you're either collecting points to at the end of the game, you've gone, well, I've got this many t-shirts from the gift shop, and I fucking had a cheeseburger and I watched the sunset and I've scored 12 points, and that's it. That's the fucking game. there's theme there, I guess, but it's just random, which I don't necessarily know is random, but if you can get locked off and going to do the things you want to do early doors, so you're like, well, brilliant, I can't fucking do that. Now I have to do this, what I didn't really want to do, and that's giving me some, essentially you'll sit there for an hour and a half playing this fucking game, and at the end of which, as I say, nothing's really fucking happened. You've not really had much choice over what you've done. You've been to a gift shop, you've had a fucking dumpling, you've watched a fucking swan fucking swim, and that's it. That's your game. And then you've scored fuck all points and it's a game over. Anything. I would play any fucking game, I think, really, rather than the others on this list. Other than sit there and just do that. Because what the fuck? Nothing really happens. You don't really do anything. You get to the end and you've maybe won. That's my take on Takaido. It looks nice. Looks stylish. But there's nothing. It's just oh, you can enjoy the journey of going down there. Well, I'll read a fucking book. Watch a TV show. I want to play a fucking game that I do stuff. That I have agency over what I'm doing. I'm making decisions. Preferably I'm doing horrible shit at people. I don't know. Just Takaido to me is just fluff. Just nothing. Just a waste of time, really. There you go. Now, don't take any of this to heart. If you loved some of these games, well, good for you. Lovely. They're your beef and not mine. Likewise, some of my choices and picks you may fucking hate. That's because we all love and hate different things. Okay? That's the way of the world. Okay? We can deal with that, okay? We can cope with that. We know we're something we don't like, then we don't have to do it. That's the best thing about it. Likewise, if something I've said that has offended you, I don't give a shit. This is the shits I give. None. Okay? I don't care. Okay? I'm sorry. If you like a shit game, that's fine. But no. Okay? If you're offended, I apologise. But I don't really care because I'm right and you're wrong. So there you go. There is 5 games I really wish I could play more of. And there's 5 games that can just fuck off out of my life and be done with you. I've been Mike B. This has been Who Dares Rolls. As always, stay safe out there. Have fun. Hopefully soon play some games. Maybe what are your loves and hate games? Let us know. Till then, adios, muchachos. I got that wrong. I'm out of here. Cheers.